Hey friends, welcome back to Beyond the Deal, where we get real about business, entrepreneurship, and commercial real estate. I'm Lacey Labs. I'm here with my co-host Laura Martin. Today we're joined by Marc Kurowski, owner of K&W Associates, a civil engineering company in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. He's also the man behind the renovation and vision of King's Mansion, a beautiful historic 1920s mansion turned mixed-use event venue on Front Street in Harrisburg. Marc has also served on various community and nonprofit boards over the years. He's a doer, connector, and community builder in Harrisburg City. In this episode, you'll hear about how he built K&W Associates from the ground up, what he's learned about running a small business in a shifting landscape, and the advice that he would give to every young engineer. Marc Kurowski, welcome to Beyond the Deal. It's great to have you with us this morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me. Good to see you all.
Absolutely. Well, let's get started with you just telling us a little bit about your background and kind of what brought you to Harrisburg and what's made you stay. And
Sure. So I'm a civil engineer by education, Penn State grad. Grew up in the Berks County area, so I lived there till I was about 29. And a buddy of mine took a job here in Mechanicsburg, and I knew it was time for me to kind of spread the wings a little bit and leave Reading. And I happened to come across a Harrisburg magazine, and it was right at the time that HYP was being founded. Yeah. So I saw an article, and I'm like, all right, this is the place to go. So landed here, commuted for about 6 months, like driving an hour and change each way, but landed downtown and have loved it ever since. Been a few jobs since then, but all in the engineering space. And it's been, I moved here in 99. So like 26 years now, which still doesn't make me from Harrisburg. I hear that all the time, but I've loved it here. Yeah, tons of potential.
Yeah. Okay. So you came here for a job, essentially,
Yes.
Landed in the city.
Yep.
And over that time, there's been a lot of change in the city, and also you now own a company in the city. So tell us a little bit about that. How did you get from landing a job to being a business owner in the city?
Totally. I kind of worked my way through a number of different engineering firms. And about 20 years ago, a good friend of mine who we worked together my very first job out of college, he was bugging me. He's like, we should do our own thing. It's time we should do our own thing. So my buddy Tom, shout out to Tom Wilson. So he kind of prompted me to do it, and we took a jump. And started our own business, worked out of my house, his house for a couple of weeks until we found a space. We were over in Techport, right up from Bass Pro for a while, right? Oh, yeah, absolutely, which is weird now because that whole campus kind of, that building got really quiet, like the whole thing emptied out. But yeah, so we started in 2005, just celebrated 20 years here in February, and have been super fortunate. The company's grown. We're 27 people today. A lot of fun clients, a lot of fun projects. Come back to that, but like the city part of it. So like when I moved here, I moved into Midtown and I wanted to be in the city. And it was kind of on the edge. I was like, as you're kind of north from downtown, it was on the edge of where kind of redevelopment was happening a little bit. So yeah, I've seen a lot of change. I lived in that part of town for probably about 15 years. Knew that I wanted to be here. It was a big enough city for me. I was never going to be a Philly guy or a New York guy. That was not my speed. So this was a very manageable size city. And I found over the years too that it was because of its size, it was easy to get involved. You could get involved and be impactful in some pretty big ways because, 50,000 people is not tremendously, it's not overwhelming, but it's still big enough to get your hands into some kind of more substantial, bigger community type things, which led to a bunch of different board roles. Capital Region Water, I've been on that board for 15 years now, actually closer to 18, I think. Theater Harrisburg, who I love. There's been so much fun. I could give a total promo for them, but I'm not going to take up your space for that. And Harristown Development has been a lot of fun too, like being part of like development that's happening downtown, which I'm sure totally intersects with the space that you all work in commercial real estate too. So
yeah.
Big picture, a lot of different things that have really kept me here with that kind of involvement.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so jumping back over to the career side for a minute.
Sure.
So you've been an engineer, trained, kind of have done that for a long time. Started K&W Associates.
Yes.
Right? And have done that for a long time now.
Yes.
And so your company is now in the city.
Yes.
And
correct.
a pretty cool building too.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we love it.
So what has kind of drawn you into the work side to stay here? What kind of projects do you love doing?
Okay.
And then tell us a little bit about the King's Mansion.
Sure.
Kind of landing there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So K&W, so we're civil engineers, landscape architects, surveyors, and geotechnical folks. So kind of in short, we're doing everything outside of a new building. So if you're putting up a new school, we'll work with an architect. They give us the footprint. We do everything outside. So we site the building on the property. We do the land survey to establish the boundary and the topography, utilities, a lot of kind of common sense engineering. I mean, we were talking about your boy earlier. Like, I mean, this is like, as a kid, like it's tangible. It's like dirt, it's like moving earth and big equipment and trucks, right? So very appealing. But it's also like, it's kind of, like I say, it's common sense. It's not complicated math. Like, I'll let the secret out. Like, we're not doing real rocket science with what we're doing. Mm-hmm. It's common sense. It's thinking through, like, planning, how to make sure that, like, a site lays out the right way for traffic or for stormwater management. Mm-hmm. So that part of the business has kept me in engineering for all this time. Plus, inherently, every site's a little bit different. Some are steep, some are flat. Some have environmental considerations. Mm-hmm. Some have zoning issues. So they're all a little bit different. So it's so like you have to think all the time. And there's kind of a fun public presentation aspect to what we do because we're in front of municipal bodies like Borough Council mm-hmm. or Planning Commission or Zoning Hearing Board. Mm-hmm. And you really have to be on your feet those nights, right? Like mm-hmm. you're going to these meetings trying to secure whatever approval for your client, and you have no idea what questions are going to come. Yeah. We don't do a lot of the maybe more contentious projects where you're going to have an audience full of people who really don't like you or the project. We're doing schools. We do a lot of athletics. So we do stadium projects, turf track, bleachers, tennis courts, anything athletics outside. But just that kind of that you can see like a real result. It's not like hidden in a building someplace. It's right there. You see the dirt moving. You see the final product and how it looks different from when you first started the project where it was maybe flat ground. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to get back to your question, Lace. Sorry.
You're perfect. That's great.
Now, the components of engineering to me and like the site and like civil engineering that we do really holds that appeal because it can just be so different on every single project. Mm-hmm. There was a second part to your question and I forgot it.
Yeah. So as you've done this, what have been some of your favorite projects? I think this. Yeah.
Okay. So we're super lucky to work for Hershey Entertainment and Resorts, which means we get to do work in Hersheypark. Mm-hmm. So the biggest project I've ever done professionally has been since my time at K&W a couple of years ago when they redid the entire front entrance to the park. Yeah. It's called Chocolate Town. Yeah. Biggest project Hersheypark had ever done in its history. Mm-hmm. For me, the biggest project professionally and super tight schedule, demanding but very fair and sophisticated client. I love working with them. Mm-hmm. And just the scope of that project was beyond anything we've typically worked on. So like, if you remember the old days in Hersheypark, you'd walk in, you kind of drop down into like a little valley and then you came back up again. Mm-hmm. Well, they had crazy flooding problems there for years, right? So one of the big thing was, hey, while we're doing all the cool aesthetic stuff that we're doing with a new roller coaster and like 9 new buildings, fix that flooding problem for us. Yeah. Cool. So like we got to do a whole bunch of like hydraulic modeling and some interesting environmental stuff. And it was just really, really transformative on a super aggressive schedule. That had almost every kind of site thing you could think of. I mean, we had a fish situation in the creek that we were working in that we had to physically go in, hire a consultant, catch all the fish, take them, move them upstream so they would live during construction. Yes. Go through all the construction stuff and then post-construction come in and make sure everything worked out, created some fish habitat. Super fun. That one, like, to me, that was probably one of the more signature projects on a larger scale. But even like the day-to-day stuff, because we do a lot of schools. So like I love working on projects where we see, hey, this is play space for the kids. This is athletics. Like who doesn't love a brand new turf soccer field or, multi-purpose field? We did Camp Hill Stadium years ago, Seaver Park. Yeah. And that was super fun. It was a, real collaboration between municipal and school. But yeah, they all have a little bit of, every one of them's a different story.
What's the footprint of your work?
So geographically, we're typically probably within about 2.5 hours of Harrisburg.
Kind of a radius.
Yeah, more or less. It's funny, that would take us into northern Maryland, but the rules get a little different once you get into Maryland. So we're almost entirely in Pennsylvania. Although interestingly, athletics has taken us further away because it's a very specialized kind of nuanced type of design. So it travels well. A lot of times folks want to hire the local civil because, oh, he knows the president of borough council because they drink beers together, so he'll get the approval faster. We always say, yeah, but he doesn't know how to design your project. Yeah. But to your point, Laura, so we're generally 2.5 hours from Harrisburg.
Okay.
Ish. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's been fun. And we're not averse to traveling, but we've been fortunate to find enough within that radius that we don't have to.
Yeah.
Virtual's made that a lot easier for sure, too. Evening meetings when we're going to borough council, we can do those now remote instead of having to drive, 3 hours, 2 hours to a meeting for 4-hour meeting and drive 2 hours back.
That's a lot. Yeah. When did you move downtown Harrisburg, your business?
So that would have been 2017, I think I bought King Mansion.
Okay.
Which is North Front Street. So about 6 blocks up from the governor's mansion. I wanted to be in town. I wanted the business to be in town. I believe in Harrisburg. I always have. And I wanted to be part of that. Looked for a long time. That building was not for sale when I bought it. My realtor, Chuck Heller, if you know Chuck at the time, he happened to know the owners of the building. They had sold their business. So there was only like 10 people in this whole 29,000 square foot building, I think. And we really connected. The owner was looking for somebody to be a steward kind of this old historic 1926 era mansion and take care of it. And that is squarely in my wheelhouse. So yeah, we hit it off. He treated me extremely well with the transaction, and it has been a lot of fun ever since. So the engineering business does live in that building as well. We're up on the second floor.
A lot of weddings in there lately. My kids' friends all getting married there. So
I love hearing
popular
that.
venue.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It has gone very quickly from a side hustle to that business now employs. We have 3 or 4 full-time and probably 5 or 6 part-time. Wow. Yeah. We just booked our 51st wedding for next year. It's been phenomenal.
Crazy.
The response has been amazing. And so many people say, similar to what you said, I've driven by this building 100 times and I've never been in here. And we're like, come on in. We come and see it and tell your friends. Like, it wasn't open to the public. It was a business. I could talk a whole separate podcast about the building. I love.
That's so cool, though, how it all came together.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Very fortunate. I've never been married. I know nothing about weddings, like zero. So like, it's been fun to learn and just kind of understand that, that space.
Some of them are crazy.
Truth. I'm not generally working with brides and brides' families. So like, I'm a little buffered that way.
Yeah. Be glad.
Yeah, truth. I have a solid team who does such a good job with that. But every time folks are there, it's a celebration. It is always something like joyous and celebratory. Like, how can you not get behind that? It's super fun. Awesome. I have totally fell into that. I just wanted a place for my engineering geeks to land and all right, let's just all hang out here on the river. Yeah. And it's turned into something much more.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Digging it.
It's nice to see things preserved and used. I mean, I was in there when it was an office building, but it didn't seem like the right fit. Lacey, correct me if I'm going off target here, but so that building, built in the 1920s, built as a residence. So it was a single family residence. 29,000 square feet.
Yeah. Well, no. So at the time there was, if you're facing the building, there's kind of a wing on the right side. That was not original.
Okay.
But even without that, right? I mean, at the time it was cutting edge. We found news articles from that time. It had an in-ground swimming pool in the basement.
Oh my God.
There was a bowling alley in the basement. They had a gymnasium on the 3rd floor for the kids. The guy was an attorney. His wife was somewhere in the Vanderbilt family lineage.
Okay.
But it was only a residence for maybe, I think, 15 to 20 years at most. Flop house for a while. Convalescent home for a little while. Vacant. Merchants and Businessmen's Insurance bought it in the 50s. And then they built that big addition on the right-hand side, which we use. First floor is the ballroom, and the second floor is actually the engineering space. But it was weird how well it lays out to entertain. Clearly, to me, that was a thought when they built it as the residence. They
At Vanderbilt's, they did. I think they did lots of entertaining.
Yes, I mean, it's not the Breakers, but
well, I grew up in Newport, Rhode Island.
Okay,
still home.
Perfect.
Yeah,
yes,
so.
It has that feel, right?
Yeah.
So we tried to preserve like the historic component, but modernize, especially inside. Like the outside, we kept everything very historic and clean. Inside, we've tried to like find some areas of make it just a little more contemporary.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's a palette for people to create their event. We kind of left it that way. So it's not overwhelming with design or finishes or furniture. It's you make that space be what you want it to be for whatever your wedding or we've had quinceañeras and bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs and vow renewals. It's been so fun just to see what people do there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love that.
A little passionate about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's really neat. I think a mutual friend of ours recently said with the mansions that you're like the Bruce Wayne of Harrisburg was his reference, which I thought was quite funny.
I do get a kick out of it.
That kind of is fitting because you are on all these boards too. So let's tell us a little bit about that. You mentioned Capital Region Water.
Yes.
You came here kind of for HYP too. So go back to that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You came as a young professional.
Absolutely.
And got involved in this new thing.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that and the different things you've done over the years.
Sure. HYP, I mean, like I met a ton of my friends that I'm still friends with as part of HYP. I will always be thankful for that experience. I think it actually geared me up a little bit for board service as well, and like some aspects of leadership. But I knew nobody when I moved here. One of the first guys I met was Alex Hartzler. I'm sure everybody knows Alex, right? He and I bought my first house from him. He kind of plugged me in a little bit with HYP. But I got to know some good people. And at that time, that was 1999. So like the city was kind of starting to feel like a little bit of an upswing, especially downtown. Restaurant Row was not quite moving yet, but it was getting there. Mm-hmm. So it was exciting. I mean, there was a lot of, as a 29-year-old at that point, like there was a lot of energy and that felt good. Yeah. So yeah, that got me into Leadership Harrisburg, class of, this is embarrassing. I think I'm class of 2008. Shout out to 2008. But that was a great experience. That really drove me into board service. It was servant leadership. John Greenlee, I think was the author that that every class I think reads for HYP. Stumbled into at that time the Harrisburg Authority, which is the entity which at that time ran the sewer and the water utilities for the city. So basically a quasi-governmental board that you're appointed, not elected. Mm-hmm. I got asked to be part of that board because I was an engineer and they wanted some engineering expertise. That was in 2008. So it has been 17 years now that I've been on that board. And we now, if y'all remember, as part of the whole incinerator situation and the city's restructuring and all that happened then, a big part of that was THA, the Harrisburg Authority, became Capital Region Water, and we went from 10 employees to about 100 overnight because all of the city's public work folks that did sewer and water came over to this group. So CRW is now, I should know this, I think we're about 120, 130 people. We manage all the stormwater, water, and sewer utilities for the city, but also we go out into the suburbs. So we manage wastewater for 7 municipalities, I think, and our water system is predominantly Harrisburg. We might creep just out just a little bit beyond that, but that couldn't be more in my wheelhouse from the engineering side of things. But it's also, we were saying earlier, you can be so impactful on this much bigger scale. So we have, 22,000 customers, I think, in Harrisburg. And we're mandated by federal requirements. You probably read a lot lately about, it's just in Penn Live, we're just announced a 40-year plan to spend $1.4 billion on infrastructure improvements for stormwater and wastewater. Wow. That's a mandate that comes down from EPA for us to fix certain things. Not to geek too much, but back in the day, the sewers were built that they were combined so that if the stormwater or the sanitary sewer got too much, it would actually spill over into stormwater and discharges in the river untreated. Yep. That's a 100-year-old system. Very difficult and costly to separate that out and keep that discharge from happening. But that is a big part of what that $1.4 billion is going to do.
And that's just for the board you're on. It's not It's just for like the city.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, that is focused in Harrisburg.
That's a big number.
EPA wanted us to do that in 20 years, and we said there is no way that our ratepayers can stomach that. It is impossible. Like, we have a very financially challenged population, and we work hard. I mean, we take that financial stewardship component of our work very seriously. It's a volunteer board. Nobody gets paid. It's a lot of time. But you can really get invested in like some pretty meaty like community stuff with a really fun little engineering anchor.
That's good.
So that one's cool. That one's been a lot of fun. Was pretty intense there for a while around like incinerator days. We were in the news all the time because it was just very, at that time, the authority managed the incinerator. It was a whole thing. Thankfully, we don't deal with that anymore, and we're just focused on the utilities, the sewer, the water, and the storm. I mean, there's other boards in there too that are they're a little more fun, not as engineering. But yes, it's been cool to kind of cross paths with folks and get involved with other people that want to just donate their time and volunteer to try to help in whatever part of the community they want to be involved in.
Yeah. Tell us just a little bit about Harristown.
Oh, yeah. If you don't know Brad Jones, that guy is the most relentlessly optimistic person I've ever met. Leader of Harristown. He has been for years. Brad and I had met through some other, I forget even how, maybe even HYP, but came onto the board from my kind of engineering background again. And their mission, which started really as build the Hilton, right, back in the day, has evolved into this much bigger, like, downtown centric economic development kind of engine. And lately, pivoted maybe from like some commercial and office use, and Strawberry Square is Harristown. Well, we all saw that market dropping off precipitously right after pandemic. So there was a shift into residential. So let's start, converting those. Harristown has done quite a few really cool projects that way. But it's a very thoughtful board full of some really powerful, I shouldn't say powerful so much as active and engaged and just like really involved in their community folks, and they're super smart. Trying to figure out like, how can we as Harristown be part of, there needs to be an uptick in Harrisburg. It is frankly to me, like we're on a not great trajectory. There's a lot of people engaged in that and not wanting that to continue, and to halt that and let's pick back up again. Harristown, I think, is a big part of it and is going to continue to lead because of we own so much square footage downtown. Trying to figure out how to pivot from what is now vacant office space to something next. Brad just wrote a great op-ed in Penn Live, I think, within the last 2 weeks. That is a good little read, and it's a good little like rah-rah for Harrisburg. And I mean, he's right. Brad knows the bones are here. We have people that want it to be successful. Just trying to find what's the formula? What's the secret sauce we need to kind of get things elevated and moving in a positive direction again, for sure.
There's definitely a core group of people in the city that I know of, like you, that are very invested. Do you guys all get together and just brainstorm?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times it's just I stopped in at the Hill Society or whatever, Fresco or something for a cocktail, and like then you run into folks. Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, there is a lot of chatter about it right now, but I mean, I'm so glad to hear you say that too, Laura. I mean, like, there are, like, have faith, like, for the folks that think that there's this decline, like, there are very invested, and not just financially invested people that want the best for Harrisburg and the people that live in Harrisburg and around Harrisburg, even over here on the West Shore. Like, come see us. It is not unsafe in Harrisburg. That narrative that, like, oh my gosh, you cross the Harvey Tail or one of the bridges into town, it's going to be this awful experience. Untrue. It is just not true. I've lived in the city for 29 years and I've never had that experience. So, yes, to your point, there are a lot of folks that are super engaged and are working very hard in the business community and the nonprofit world and the art space to kind of, realize more of the potential that we know exists in Harrisburg.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Our office isn't big, but we have 3 women that all live in the city and love it.
Yep.
Amen.
Lacey included.
Yes. Yeah, for
Big
sure.
Big advocates. We talk about it all the time. Yep.
Yes, for sure.
And 2 of you just moved recently and just bought other houses in the city. You're invested.
See, I love hearing that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There's still plenty of energy. I feel like Midtown has really, I mean, like in the last few years, north of Forster has seen a lot of like cool growth and good, like that's more activity there, I think, lately than downtown. Which is cool. Let's keep doing that while we're also elevating downtown and bring that up.
Yeah. I'm going in a lot more because she just got me interested in honey bear, radish and rye. Nice. But I cry when I see the poor Broad Street Market.
The building.
Just sitting there.
I'm sure. I mean, I know
that's a board that needs you.
I mean, I've not been too I'm not active at all in that situation, but like I did see, I think just recently, I think yesterday actually, there was an article on Penn Live that something's moving forward. I think like bids and construction, like let's get it up and moving again.
Yeah.
A lot of people worked hard to get the temporary facility up and running. Personally, I think we could have like dove in quite hard right immediately after the fire. The governor was standing there 2 days afterwards with a speech saying we are ready to contribute money, and it just got stuck. But we are where we are now. Let's bring it back.
Well, West Shore Farmers Market had a similar thing. I don't know how many years ago, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
They had a fire.
Absolutely.
Did the temporary building.
Yes. Yeah. Clearly there's a demand and an audience. I mean, Harrisburg, well, as residents, like we don't have grocery store, like not many grocery options in town. There's a bit of a food desert. So love to see it come back and revitalize that part of town for sure. Yeah.
I know at one point we had a neighbor in one of the streets who was an older lady, and she was living on Social Security, and she would go to the Broad Street Market on Saturdays at like 4 or 5 p.m. right before everything would close. Yeah. And a lot of the like Amish produce vendors would give her stuff either for free or for super reduced prices because she couldn't afford to go buy her groceries. She didn't have a car. And it was amazing. You'd see her walking back with a bag of fresh produce, and she'd be talking about how, and it was just like, this is like literally the beauty of the Broad Street Market. Like, it's great when a bunch of affluent people come and spend their money there. Like, that's great, and enjoy it and talk it up and go with their friends. Right. But it's like so cool to see someone who's having a hard time paying their bills, like, come and get food there. And, and that just honestly always has made me even more of a like, this place has to exist. Like, there are literally people who are getting a lot of their sustenance here. So it's really, really cool.
There's a lot of those stories. Yeah. And I love it because you don't hear them, right? Yeah. But like that absolutely does exist. That's so cool. I love it, at least. Yeah.
It's just encouraging to know there's good people coming into our city and being business owners and contributing. So
yes, in a lot of ways.
A lot of really good people.
Amen.
So I think we've hit most of our questions pretty well, Mark.
Awesome.
So we have 2 closer questions for you.
All right.
And these are both kind of oriented around kind of picking your brain, getting your advice, especially for the younger generation. So the first one is, if you were talking to a younger person getting started in engineering, starting their career, what advice would you give to them about getting started in that field, in this area, or just in general? What would you say?
This is probably kind of fundamental, but do some kind of internship, whether even if it's just a summer job, or I mean, some programs require it, but like while you're in school, just go be in the environment of an engineering practice for a summer. You might just be, running plans to, drop them off somewhere, or you might be, out in the field, but just experience it, get to like learn the language a little bit and just see what it feels like. Because office culture does still exist, even in a hybrid space. We're only 2 days a week, but it still happens. Just get in there and get immersed. I will say, I mean, we hired 4 folks out of college last summer, which is the first time full time. They were 4 graduates. Every one of them has been phenomenal. But you can tell, like, as we talked to them and like who had done time as an intern or, whatever it is, Drexel's program requires it, I think, for 2 or 3 years. Big difference. There's a comfort level. So I would strongly recommend that. I mean, that probably is not exclusive to engineering, right? But I would absolutely encourage that for a student in the field. And come see us. We'll have you come in and do a job shadow for a day and show you what engineering life looks like. It's more fun than just geeky stuff, to be honest. But yes.
Love it. Great advice. And then our last question, we ask everybody the same one. Okay. So it's, if you could go back and start your career all over again, but somehow magically maintain all the knowledge and experience that you have from your years, is there anything you would do differently, and what would it be and why?
This is going to sound some kind of way. Like, I don't think I would change anything. Taken some bad beats, have been in some like hard situations. That is part of growth. I wouldn't want to have avoided those or not experienced them. Career path wise, I think it's okay to change jobs, maybe not every 2 years, because that's a thing that we'll look at a resume and kind of like, well, you jumped an awful lot. But, maybe 2-3 times, like go see some different environments. You're going to find where you want to land. That may sound like some kind of way, I guess. I don't think I would change it, Lace. I mean, there's too many things that I've learned, again, whether it was the hard way or it was that was the awesome way. They all ended up like whatever. They put you on the path that you're on. So I think I would not, no regrets.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how I try to live.
I say that
Sad that I have
on a bad
some.
day, and I might say differently, right?
You were talking to Brad Jones this morning. He probably pumped you up.
It is contagious. Absolutely.
It is contagious. I agree.
For sure.
Positivity is contagious.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Well, Marc, thank you so much for your time and your insights and sharing your story and about King's Mansion and K&W Associates. And
this was so fun. Thank you so much for having me. And I've had enough coffee that I probably talked all the time this morning, but thank you. This was really fun. Enjoyed it.
Great. Thanks so much.
Cool.
That's it for today's conversation with Marc from K&W Associates. I hope you felt as inspired listening as we did talking with him. You'll find all the links to connect with him and with us here at SB & Lattice in the show notes. Thanks for hanging out with us on Beyond the Deal. Until next time, keep going, keep growing, and keep building your story.